The Iran conflict has entered its most politically contested phase yet. While the White House frames the war as a necessary response to Iranian aggression, voices in the Senate are growing louder. A Democratic senator puts the toll in stark human terms. 18 Americans have now died in a war with no stated exit strategy. Iran, he warns, may simply be waiting the conflict out, and right now, there is no clear path to end it.
I mean, to me, what it shows is the incredible risk and chaos of this war with no clear explanation for why it's happened and no clear rationale or path for getting out of it. The chaos that ensues when you have these very poorly thought through conflicts and wars just has a huge impact on so many people, including here in America, where people are paying the price. So it's hard to feel optimistic. I certainly hope that we can move more towards diplomacy and less towards conflict in the Middle East. We've lost 18 Americans in this ill-conceived war, and I think all of us in Congress want to see this resolved without any further bloodshed or violence, but it's very, very unpredictable tonight. And I wonder whether Iran is not just thinking to themselves, let's see if we can just sort of run out the clock, and this limbo might not be such a bad situation for us as we harbor our power.
That warning lands the same week Israel's prime minister arrives in Washington for talks with President Trump. At the United Nations, Israel's ambassador steps before the cameras to make Jerusalem's case. The picture he paints is stark. Iran blocking the Strait of Hormuz, ballistic missiles striking 12 countries every single day, and a Security Council that still refuses to formally designate Hamas a terrorist organization. What Netanyahu brings to the Oval Office will be shaped by all of it.
Good morning and thank you for joining us today. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, is going to deliver a brief statement. He will take your questions afterwards. If called upon to ask a question, please state your name and media outlet. Thank you. Ambassador.
Good morning. Today, Prime Minister Netanyahu will meet with President Trump in Washington. This meeting comes at a critical time for the Middle East. Iran has violated the MOU with the United States and continues to choose terrorism over negotiations. Iran continues to block the Strait of Hormuz and they launch ballistic missiles at 12 Middle Eastern countries every single day, halting trade, terrorizing the region, and killing American service members and innocent civilians. We are grateful for our deep partnership with the US. We fought shoulder to shoulder against Iran, and we are prepared to continue supporting the US in pursuing peace and stability in the region. Gaza will be part of the meeting today in the Security Council and also will be part of the discussion between Prime Minister Netanyahu and the President. We see that there is progress in Washington, but unfortunately the Security Council continue to fail designating Hamas as a terrorist organization. Hamas is the main obstacle to implementing the President's 20-point plan, and we demand that the Council will finally designate Hamas as a terrorist organization. On Sunday, the Israeli cabinet approved the initial entry of ISF forces into Gaza. It will be an opportunity for the people of Gaza to rebuild their lives in a humanitarian zone completely free of Hamas control. We also appreciate the efforts of Secretary of State Rubio regarding Lebanon, and we are hopeful to see the day that Hezbollah is removed from the border between Israel and Lebanon. But as we see progress coming from Washington, look what's happening in New York City. Mayor Mamdani continues inciting violence in New York. Last week, he threatened our Prime Minister that he will be arrested when he comes to the UN General Assembly. And when he realized he cannot do that, it was a baseless declaration, he continued to demonize Israel and spread blood libels. It is no surprise that just one day later, a radical yelling Allahu Akbar stabbed a Jew who stepped out of a synagogue in the Upper West Side. Mayor Mamdani promotes hate. It is dangerous. It is irresponsible. I would like to end on a personal note. As you know, the Prime Minister came to meet with the President, but also he's here to pay his respects.
With his ambassador making the case in New York, Netanyahu himself heads to Capitol Hill. The Senate meetings are where political support gets locked in, and the first stop is a Republican who has never wavered. Tom Cotton represents the hawkish GOP consensus. The war against Iran was justified. The alliance with Israel is non-negotiable, and any daylight between Washington and Jerusalem is dangerous. But Republican solidarity alone is not the whole political story this week.
I'm delighted to see you again, Senator Cotton. You've been a great friend of Israel, none better, and I know you're a champion of the Israel-American alliance, which enhances the security of both our countries, and I want to thank you for your constant support and your indefatigable defense of Israel and the common values that make our countries great.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support for our nation. Israel has proven itself to be the best ally we've had since Great Britain in World War II. That was the last time we had a nation that fought shoulder to shoulder with us, side by side, against our common enemy in Iran and against the radical terrorism we face. And I will always stand up for and support the United States-Israel alliance because it makes both of our nations safer.
Well, you've been an exemplary American patriot and a great friend of Israel, and I can say none better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Republican support for Israel is the expected baseline on Capitol Hill. The meeting that matters more politically comes next. John Fetterman has made himself a singular figure inside the Democratic Party, standing publicly behind Israel's campaign in Gaza, backing strikes on Iranian capabilities, and drawing relentless criticism from within his own party for it. His willingness to sit with the Prime Minister and say so on camera is the clearest sign that bipartisan support for this war, however narrow, still exists.
Senator, it's good to see you again. You've been a stellar patriot, talking about what is good for America, what is good for our alliance, of which you've been a champion, and you've been telling it like it is, with no fear, and just an indefatigable and courageous commitment to the truth. And I want to thank you on behalf of the people of Israel. Actually, I want to thank you on behalf of free people everywhere, because I've been receiving from around the world kudos for your courage and your clarity. So thank you. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Prime Minister, it was a supreme honor of my time here in the Senate to proud and stand with and for the vision and what Israel is, the miracle that Israel is. I've had the privilege of visiting a couple times, and when you witness it and you can just realize what a miracle it is, and how it's been disappointing as a Democratic politician and how our party continues to behave. And we had the culmination of that where that worthless mayor in New York, saying these kinds of ridiculous claims. Now, I think, as far as I know, I was the only Democrat that was proud to push that trash back. And now here we are. It's like, but I'm proud to stand with Israel through everything.
Well, we're doubly proud to have you as our friend, and I think history will record your contribution to truth and justice. And these are not just words that are coming out from my mouth; they're coming out from my heart and from deeply felt convictions. And we're very proud of your stance. It's one that will be recorded by history, for posterity. So thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm proud to remain the conscience of the Democratic Party in Congress, not just the Senate, but over in Congress overall. I've always supporting things like last year, Midnight Hammer, or what you were confronting in Gaza and how necessary it was to destroy Hamas and Hezbollah and also go after the Iranian with their capabilities. It's always been a just war for me, and people forgot why this was even necessary and look at the ways these organizations and the way Iran, I don't understand how we've arrived with where we are politically, at least in my party, but I have no regrets. But thank you for your kind words, and I'm always so sorry for what Israel and the Jewish community has suffered, especially since after 10/7.
Netanyahu's Washington visit maps the full political geography of the Iran war debate in a single day. A Democratic senator counts 18 American deaths and calls for diplomacy. Israel's UN ambassador charges that Iran is blockading global shipping and striking 12 nations with missiles daily. A Republican senator calls the alliance indispensable. And a lone Democrat calls himself the conscience of a party he says has lost its way on this question. Washington has heard every argument. What it decides next is the only one that matters.